Welcome to Stuff and Things. My name's Chase.
And I'm Jess.
And this is our podcast where we talk about the random stuff and things that influence our business and our life and just the things that we're kind of interested in. And today, let's actually just talk about today a little bit. So we went voted today.
We did.
Yes. That was super important to us.
Yeah.
We actually voted early because today is Monday. I've lost the time and the weeks. And
today is Monday, actual voting day. Election day is tomorrow. So we voted early, which we've never done before.
No, we haven't. So that was a fun experience.
An interesting adventure.
Yeah, we figured it might be a little crazy tomorrow and you have to work tomorrow and you happen to have the day off today. So we figured what better time than to go out today and make it happen.
Yeah.
So it was actually pretty quick. We thought the line was going to be crazy, but it ended up only taking about 30 minutes altogether.
No, it was really great. And I felt like all the poll workers who were volunteering were awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. I will say, though, I still love our little hometowny normal voting.
It is super awesome because where we live, we have this crazy old mansion that was owned by the guy who owned Longaberger baskets back in the 90s and 1000s.
It was owned by other people first.
But it's a giant mansion and now the town owns it and they have all these cool field houses and it's a great wedding venue and that's actually where we get to go vote as our polling station. So
it's really fun.
It is pretty fun, but it was nice to go to the actual Board of Elections today.
It is. And the floors are cool in there.
They're really cool.
In the field house, the floors are really they make cool sounds when you walk on them. It's
it's an old racquetball court almost.
It's really cool. I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but I really like how they sound.
But we hope that all of you guys got a chance to get out and vote, whether it was early or through mail-in or in person on voting day on Tuesday, which is tomorrow for us. But yeah, we've had kind of a busy weekend as well. We've made it busy ourselves. We started filming that short film that we talked to you guys about a couple of weeks ago. We thought about doing it before Halloween, but then life was crazy with photo shoots in October. And so we put it off and now we are starting it and we are about halfway through. So it's been a lot of fun. So look forward to seeing that on our YouTube channel. We're also trying to...
Jess doesn't act well.
We're trying to film a little bit of behind the scenes as well so that you guys can see the making.
Comments. Just kidding.
Tell us exactly what you think.
No, please don't.
But today we want to talk about the importance of adventure in life and what adventure looks like to us. And what it can look like to everyone else that's out there and listening to this and how important it is just for daily life.
Absolutely. We have really been firm believers that adventure really experiences build memories. And when it comes to families and, even being a couple, you're not going to, a friend of mine actually put this quote on her Facebook a long time ago. Your kids are not going to remember their best day of watching TV, but they're going to remember the day that you went on a hike or that you did something exciting. And so that's kind of stuck with me in a sense that I always want there to be at least a little bit in every week that's going to be a memorable thing for them. And that can be playing a new game. It's not anything big. I'm not talking grand gestures. I'm not talking that you traveled to Bali this week. I'm saying that, it's just
or you did
something.
And it was awesome.
Well, that's awesome too. I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying that you can find it.
Yeah, adventure comes in a lot of different ways and it comes in building those memories, like you said. And, we try to be intentional with our kids as much as we can. And it doesn't always work out that way. There are definitely days filled with watching TV but those can also be memorable moments. So for us, we've been reading through the Harry Potter series and our kids have been loving it. And we feel like they're right at that perfect age where they're all right around, that tween age or whatever, 10 and 12 and whatever. So they're right in that pocket of when these stories are taking place for the characters. And so it's really cool for them to kind of go through that together. And then when we finish a book, we watch the movie together,
which is super fun.
And so we've taken that time then to invest in our kids and read the book with them and spend, weeks on each book. And then we culminate it with watching the movie and pointing out all the flaws and issues and, missing details from the book. And our kids are like, what? They didn't show that part. And it's really fun to remember that.
Yeah.
But so we wanted to kind of just encourage people to also just not get caught up in we keep saying it, the highlight reel of other people, because adventure looks different for absolutely everybody. And there's an opportunity to seek adventure just in your daily life.
And that's what I think I was trying to get across. And by saying like, maybe it's just a game or, you know, it doesn't have to be the grand gesture.
Yeah.
And I mean, we are unfortunately heading into those, you know, preteen and teen ages where our kids sometimes like don't all agree on what to do, and they don't always all want to do something with us, which is heartbreaking.
It is. It's really hard to watch them grow up for that.
To like then motivate them. So also like know that that's truth in our lives, and don't feel like if your kids are so unmotivated to do an adventurous thing with you that you're like, oh, defeated.
Yeah, video games are a big motivator for our kids right now. They really enjoy those, and we try to limit them, but
I do not. So I can't vibe with that.
Yeah. But I want to start us off with a quote. It is, "Without adventure, civilization is in full decay." And that is a man named Alfred North Whitehead, who is a mathematician and a philosopher. And I thought that was really interesting because adventure should really change us.
Absolutely.
And whatever adventure you're on, you could even just look at your life as an adventure in and of itself. And that's kind of where we want to, I guess, pivot to, is where what we kind of look at adventure as, because we really like to travel.
We do.
We really like to experience new culture. We really like to experience new cities even, and like to get out and go places. And we always have a pretty extensive bucket list of places that we want to travel to and things we want to do.
And we'll get to that in a 5-on-5.
Yes, absolutely. In just about 2 episodes, which is crazy. We're on episode 8.
That is crazy.
We've been doing this for 2 months now, pretty solid. And I think this is the first one that we haven't actually recorded on a Saturday.
Yeah, life was too crazy this week.
It was a little too crazy for us this time.
We have a lot going on at our house right now. Like the house is getting painted. We're getting a new deck. So it's like...
This has been chaos.
It's just chaos.
Living in a construction zone sucks.
And there's some walls getting redone. Like it's just... Yeah, so I feel like every day kind of feels chaotic just because everything is a little bit construction zoney.
A little chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Absolutely. But like I said, we have always had kind of a bad wanderlust.
Yeah.
We are always looking at houses in like the most far off distant lands.
You mean me.
Well, by proxy, you show me them all the time. True. So our Instagram feed is usually full of like cheap old houses or like circa old houses or cheap EU houses, cheap Nordic houses.
Guys, if you are not following all of these things on Instagram, it is highly recommended.
You'd be like, oh, I can go live in Sweden on the fjords with a mountain backdrop for $80,000.
It's insane, and the houses are always so cute. And I'm like,
they look like they're out of an IKEA catalog. It's perfect. So that kind of inspires us to want to like go to those places or to travel to those places, because we've kind of put that wanderlust on hold for now.
Yeah.
Because with our kids and being in school and things like that, we don't really want to bounce them around too much. We moved quite a bit in their early life around Colorado and then out here to Ohio.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of settled here where we're at now, and we don't really want to bounce them around too much, but it is really enticing sometimes.
I mean, how many times a week do I ask you if we can sell everything and buy an RV and just live van life?
How many times a week or how many times a day?
Both.
Okay. It's multiple times.
I mean, I personally, I love the community we have here. It is like the people here are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nothing to do with that. I just love new. I love moving somewhere new and finding a new house. And I don't know. That's all just so exciting to me. Finding new restaurants, finding new things. And then like being able to look back at that. And like, I look back at our time in Newcastle when we were there, and we think about like the restaurants that we loved or whatever. And yes, sometimes I'm like, oh, that would be so great to have that right now. But most of the time, I'm cool. Like, it's
that
more
just builds
that
an adventure though for us, right? Like we've really wanted to build a life of adventure. And so whether it was when we lived in Newcastle, I mean, it was a town of 2,000 people, 3,000 people, but we made adventures of like making sure we went out into the national forests like every single weekend.
Were basically in our backyard.
Yeah. And so we would go drive through the Rocky Mountains in our 4-wheel drive vehicle and take it places that it should not have gone.
It was awesome.
And like just explore and make those memories. And, you know, it was really kind of heartbreaking to me the other day. We were talking with our kids and, you know, we were asking them the question of like, if you could go to any state, where would you want to go? And Gemma said that she wanted to go back to Colorado because she didn't remember it. And that really kind of made me sad because I was like, man, like they don't remember this awesome part of their life, this awesome time that we really were really intentional and had all this time to be able to go out and do stuff. But it was kind of like, well, I guess we need to make those memories here. And then also when we go to Colorado, it'll be really fun for them. It
will be really fun for them. Getting to take them to all the places that
we've been to
and that they were born in.
Yeah.
We have all these memories with that. Like that'll be exciting.
But so that's one thing that we really try to do with our kids though, is seek that adventure. So whether that just be, like you said, playing a game or, you know, making something more exciting than just like, hey, we're just going to watch TV, or, hey, I'm just coming home from work and we're just going to, you know, make dinner and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Like it's not anything crazy, but we want to like try to fill our weekends with stuff. And so whether that just be like today, like we went to the skate park and it was 38 degrees outside.
It was really
cold, but our kids wanted to go. And so we're like, yeah, let's do it. And so we took them to the skate park and then we went and they got to experience us going in early voting. And they got to, you know, we went and got lunch at a new restaurant in Newark, which was great.
It was super tasty.
And then we, you know, went and bought some sugar cookies from a local bakery. That's fantastic.
They're a personal guilty pleasure. Yes. I grew up with these cookies. My mom actually worked at the bakery when she was in high school. So they're really like near and dear to my food memories.
That was an adventure for us today. And so that was a lot of fun for them to experience new things like voting and seeing what that was like. And so it was really cool to take them on that adventure. But we also try to just like find a new hiking destination or go for a drive to a new part of the state or just little things like that really kind of spark our kids' imaginations, but also try to trigger their memories. And so that we can then create a life that they're like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like, remember when we did that? Remember we went to this place and it's just kind of cool.
And our kids have crazy good memories.
It's ridiculous.
So like, they will remember it. If it was memorable, even if it wasn't memorable, sometimes they remember everything.
They'll be like, you remember that toy that I had when I was 2 years old? It was this thing and you threw it away. I was like, no, I don't remember that toy because I threw it away.
Like a McDonald's toy that they're like,
that was 10 years ago.
The nice thing is it means that they latch on to those memories that are fun or are exciting. And so that's really,
and they're always wanting to go new places too. So, you know, we've asked them that question of what state would you want to go to? And they were all wanting to go to different places in the country because they wanted to experience new beaches or they wanted to go like check out new cities. And it's really cool to see how we've kind of fostered that in them, that they have this desire for travel and adventure. And I think that's super important just in general, is just get out there.
Yeah.
Because there are so many cool places, but there are also lots of places that'll teach you something.
Yeah. For sure.
Teach you new experiences and new cultures and new demographics and new food, which will also come up on a 5 for 5 because we love food. But that's generally that generally dictates our travel.
It actually very much so dictates our travel.
Yeah, we were coming back from Nashville from a concert. No, it was from Florida.
No, we went to Florida.
And we went out of our way to go to this barbecue place that we had read on some list somewhere of like best barbecue restaurants in America. It just so happened that we could make it happen.
Guys, it did not disappoint. No. It was so good.
And I mean, you're a vegetarian, which is really funny that we were excited to go to a barbecue restaurant.
It is. I'm a weirdo.
But we got there and we're like, there's going to be absolutely nothing for you to eat but French fries. And they had a whole vegetarian menu of barbecue food.
They had a jackfruit sandwich.
And it was incredible. So good. So definitely worth the travel. But like it added an extra hour and a half to our drive. And we got dinner and it was weird and late. And like this totally just...
It was the weirdest restaurant.
Hole-in-the-wall restaurant.
Yeah.
But like it was so worth it. And it's something that we're going to remember forever.
Yeah.
And that we're like, okay, how can we make it so we can go to this place again? Like,
oh my gosh.
Where do we need to go to get there?
Yeah.
And that's one thing we try to do as a couple, I think, a lot is plan those little weekend getaways or those little trips that we can try to go on that just help us to reset as parents, because that's super important.
Yes, it is.
And it helps us to connect as a couple, which is also super important. Mm-hmm. And it helps us to experience new things together and build memories that are just ours.
Yeah. I mean, we have just in the past year or so gone to a couple cities. We went to St. Petersburg, Florida, which was so fun. It's worth the drive. I know that sounds weird. I felt like it was a retirement place, but they have such a really cool downtown area and
the food is incredible.
It really is. And we are not huge touristy people when we go to a place. We don't go to so we didn't stay in the St. Pete Beach area where everyone else stays. We actually stayed in the historic downtown area.
Because we're nerds and love history.
We're super weird. It was super fun.
It was awesome.
Walked to all these restaurants. It was awesome. We had the opportunity to go to Louisville, and that was really fun.
Yeah. Our choice of adventure there was going on a ghost walk tour. And now we are not superstitious people by any means, and we don't latch on to paranormal or anything like that. We like history, and we feel like there's a lot of cool history that happens with those things. Yes. But this ghost tour was incredible. The man that hosted it was so overly enthusiastic. He had the little speaker box, little amp that attached to him with the wireless headset mic, the Garth Brooks
Britney
mic.
Spears. Oh,
and he just went on and on and on about all these ghosts and all these crazy experiences that he personally had, all while pitching his multitude of books that he's written over his travels.
But I will say he was very knowledgeable about the history behind some of the buildings and all of that, which was really cool.
And then so at the end of this ghost tour, it culminated in this big hotel that was super cool.
Beautiful.
Al Capone had been there, super awesome in history. But we had a friend who was not having it with the whole ghost thing. And so we decided that, hey, he said the 13th floor of this hotel was super haunted. Let's go there.
Well, and he said something about a certain elevator shaft was this woman fell down and died or whatever on her wedding day. Something crazy.
Because that's always how ghost stories go, right? She was getting ready to be married and she ran down the hallway and fell down some elevator shaft. I don't think I've ever seen an elevator shaft just open.
But it was also supposedly the 20s or something. So maybe then.
So we decided that we would go and find our way up to this floor. And so we got into an elevator.
But no. We pushed the button. The elevator that opened was the shaft she died in, which was hilarious. We were dying because I don't believe it. But he started freaking out. Sorry, we're throwing under your bus.
We got all the way up to this 13th floor and we started walking around and exploring. We were like, oh, did you feel that?
It's cold here.
It was cold. Did you feel that? Did you hear that? And he was just losing his mind. It was so much fun. But
it was awesome.
Again, another memory that we're not ever going to forget.
But that trip, we also went zip lining in an old cavern.
Yeah. So in Louisville, they have these limestone caverns.
Yeah.
And they're all under the city. And they're the largest limestone caverns in America, if I believe.
Yes.
And they were, but they've built this 2-hour-long ziplining course.
It is super
through the caverns. But Jess here hates adventure sometimes.
I just don't like heights, guys.
A thrill adventure sometimes. And so she doesn't ride roller coasters and she was afraid of the zip lines. And so we all were same friends with the ghost tour. We're we have to do this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun. And you freaked out until you got on the first zip line.
I'm pretty sure I had a traumatic stress induced
panic
attack on that first one because I just I don't know.
But after
then
that,
it was fine.
She had a blast.
Except for that rope bridge that was 70 feet in the air.
Yeah, the rope bridges sucked. But either way, she now wants to go ziplining in other places.
It was actually really fun.
So we really try to get out there and just do these things. Like you said, we went to Louisville. We went to Nashville for a concert.
We also tend to go places for music.
Yes. Music's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so we look forward to things like that. And it gives us also something then to look forward to.
So I'm going to back onto that. So we have a plan of going to see Chris Stapleton in April in Lexington. And, something that we have really learned through the years is that if you don't schedule adventure, if you don't make time for fun, if you don't put it on your calendar, if you don't purposely plan it out, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't just will it to happen. You can't just be like, oh, I want my life to be more exciting and then do nothing about it.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing, right? Like help. You see everybody out there traveling and having fun and like living these super adventure packed lives. And you're like, well, why not? Like, what can I do? Like, I just live here. But like, there's a lot of things that like, you have to go out and do it. Like, if you're not seeking adventure, then adventure's not going to just come and find you. Like, you have to go out and do it. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss out on is, there's so many people that work in corporate America or work wherever that have vacation. They'll have 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, heck, 6 weeks of vacation sometimes a year, and they don't use it. Or you're like, oh, well, what are you going to go on your vacation? Like, oh, I'm going to have a staycation. Yeah. Like that's refreshing. Like, that's exciting. Like, no, that sucks. Like, it's just the same thing, but you're not going to work. But
it can be if you've planned it. It can be exciting if you've planned it.
But most people's staycation is that, oh, instead of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, I'm going to wake up at 8 o'clock and I'm going to be like, I'm going to sleep in and be lazy. And I'm not going to do anything. And like I said, it's just like the same exact thing that you do normally, but you're not going to work. And so that's boring. Yeah. And then you're like, play the woe is me. Like, I don't adventure. I don't experience things. And it's because you're not doing it. Yeah. If you're not seeking adventure's not going to find you. And so take your vacations and do something. Like, if you have a week of vacation, look at places that you can drive to within a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, that's totally doable.
That's
for a
reasonable.
Week.
You can go there for a day. That's a day drive, a day drive back. So that gives you 5 days of adventure somewhere. Like, you can go really far on a 10-hour drive.
That is true. And depending upon what part of the country you live in, that is definitely
for us,
true.
We can go from the heart of America, Ohio. In 10 hours, we can drive to the East Coast. We can be in New York. We can go to Philadelphia. We can go to Boston. We can go down to Myrtle Beach into Georgia. We could probably make Charleston in 10 hours if we really tried. Charleston's closer, not Charleston. I'm thinking, I don't know. Anyways, there's so many places, and like it's just an opportunity for us to then take adventure to a multitude of cities and be able to go somewhere. I mean, we went, what was it, last year to Myrtle Beach. Yeah. And that was a 10-hour drive.
And we went memorable.
And we went there for a weekend.
Basically because we were supposed to be there for a whole week. And then there was a hurricane. We literally got evacuated. We took a picture of our kids packing up our car, all like,
pouty face.
Man, because they were so bummed that there was a hurricane spoiling their fun. But they talk about it
all the time. And they keep saying, can we go back to Myrtle Beach and finish our vacation because we got cut short? So it's just, making the opportunities and really being like, okay, well, I have 2 weeks of vacation. Like, go somewhere. Like, travel to Europe. Like, everybody has a bucket list. Everybody has their like ideal vacation, and you just have to go out and do it.
Well, and part of that is also like when you are intentional, when you start planning it, you're also going to save the money to do it.
Yeah.
When you start making adventure a priority, and no, it shouldn't be the top priority. Obviously, like there are family, things like that. Obviously, not trying to say that, but it should be a priority, because if it isn't, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
And so if you're making that a priority, you're going to set aside money for it. You're going to make the plans to do it. You're going to set the time for it. You're going to take your vacation and say, you know what? Those emails can pile up. Work will be okay. I can do this.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard thing too, is so many people are so career minded right now that everybody wants to like not let other people down, and especially in the workplace, they don't want to be the guy that like, I can't leave because if I leave, like Janet's not gonna be able to answer her emails, like, and so they and they're like, they need me there. And I know I fall into that trap for sure.
You totally
like,
have.
I can't leave because my work needs me, and everything will fall apart if I'm not there, and it'll just be a crazy like mess when I come back.
I promise you it won't.
Yeah.
It will still be there.
For sure. And so it's just a matter of planning and making sure that you get out and do something, which I think is good segue into our next segment here. Okay. But I think that we should take a real fast break so we can reset our cameras. And then we will be right back. All right, and welcome back after that short break. We were actually just talking about our little short film that we're making. And we were talking about every time we reset the camera or like redid a scene or something like that. Our daughter, who is 9 tomorrow, was always saying like 3, 2, 1 action. And
but so, like whispering it. So like,
and so I was reviewing the clips yesterday and I could hear it every time. She would be like 3, 2, 1 action. And like, it was always, she was just close enough to the camera to like, for it to pick up. And then I would say,
it was always like right after you said action, actually. It was
so funny.
You'd be like action. She'd be like 3, 2, 1 action.
She's like, okay, Mom, 3, 2, 1 action. It was so good. So, but we got our kids involved in this short film, even though we're making a horror movie. We wanted them.
I mean, it's not like gore. No, it's not super.
We wanted them to be involved in it because creepy. We wanted them to, have something that they remember doing in this crazy pandemic.
Yeah.
And our middle, Atticus, has really shown an interest in photo and video and camera stuff. And so we want to foster that in him and give him an outlet and give him some creative ability. Mm-hmm. And, this was a fun way to do that. But I guess that's kind of what we want to talk about in the second half here is just how... Because 2020 has been crazy, because 2020 has put a halt on pretty much all travel and things like that are what traditional adventure looks like.
Yeah. And there's not really right now an end in sight.
Yeah. How we've kind of pivoted that into a non-traditional sense of adventure.
Yeah.
So like we said, we do try to plan weekend trips and things like that. And that's also just us trying to find like local nature preserves within a hour-long drive.
Yeah.
And going and hiking places that we haven't been to before and trying to see things. And that's really fun and all. But there's also other things that you can do to kind of fill that sense of adventure. One thing that we read kind of leading up to this was an article talking about just what adventure kind of looks like.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like life is more than just a journey, because you can take a journey, you can hop on a boat, hop on a plane, like go on a journey, but you can sleep through the whole thing. Is the journey, a journey is more about going from point A to point B, but an adventure is about, living through all those like twists and turns and all the different experiences and really experiencing life. And whether that's the good, the bad, the triumphs or the failures, all the things in between, that's what makes up the adventure. And that's what makes up really living your life to the fullest and living it so that you kind of have memories and are making memories with other people.
Yeah. So every time you say that quote, I only can picture, hobbits.
I'm going on an adventure.
Yes. Like that's all I can picture the whole time you're saying it. Oh, I'm such a nerd. Anyway.
We are definitely nerds. So that's from the Lord of the Rings.
For those of you who don't know,
Bilbo Baggins.
Please read the books.
Yes. But in the movies, he is excited and because he never leaves the Shire. So it's actually a perfect talking point.
Isn't it? Oh, no, it is Bilbo first.
It's Bilbo first. So Bilbo Baggins lives in the Shire and he never...
We're going on a weird tangent.
But he never leaves.
No.
Like he is perfectly comfortable in his life.
Honestly, there's so many parallels to that of what people do with their life.
Yes.
They're comfortable.
And so he goes day to day living his life and then he's thrown a crazy kink.
Yeah.
And has to go on an adventure. And that adventure then molds his life and molds the memories and molds what he does and ends up like, I mean, it's incredible. So like, it actually works perfectly for what you were thinking, even though it was a super nerd moment.
Yeah. Because how often do we end up at the same restaurant or do the same thing, order the same food, eat the same things all week, and just go through the motions where every day is the same. Maybe we eat something different that day, or maybe we talk to someone different. But other than that, it's wake up, go to work, go to school, whatever that is for you, eat dinner, maybe hang out for a little bit or watch a show and then go to bed. I mean, literally, like I think so many people in America do fall into that trap.
Absolutely. And I'm super guilty of that. Like I always tell you, I'm a creature of habit. Like we go to restaurants, we have our restaurants that we go to. And when we go to those restaurants, I order the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Because I know it's what I like. And so like I've tried to order something different and I've just been disappointed because it wasn't the thing that I wanted. But I feel like that's because we fall into this normalcy. So like for me, though, when we go out to a different city or a different place, like, and I don't know what I like, that's when I'm feeling adventurous. And that's when I feel that sense of adventure to be able to be like, okay, I'm not just going to order a bacon cheeseburger because I know it's going to be a good bacon cheeseburger.
But you still usually do.
Sometimes. If it's a restaurant, they're like, the bacon cheeseburger is really good, then I'm going to order the bacon cheeseburger.
It's okay. You know what you like as far as food goes. That's fine.
Yeah. I always like to say that I'm not picky, but that's definitely not true.
No, he's very picky.
I'm very picky.
He's very picky.
It comes from working in the restaurant system. That's really what it comes into is I know what I like. I know how things are made and I know what I don't like. And
that's fair.
Yeah. And so I kind of fall into that complacency when it comes to that. But I do like trying new food for the most part.
I'm only picky because of dietary restrictions.
Yeah. You say I'm picky.
Oh, yes.
But
I'm really not. But
so, like we said, like 2020 has been crazy. And it's kind of put a halt on plans for us. But it's kind of forced us to find ways to adventure locally. Yeah. It's forced us to find ways to like really just challenge us to make an adventure out of the mundane. But it's also kind of pushed us into what I would consider one of the biggest adventures that we've undertaken. Kind of, I guess, just really pivoting our careers. Yeah. Like for our whole marriage, I've worked. I've always been the one who had the full-time job and worked every day and, was the main income winner. Yeah. And you had raised our kids for 10 years, which is a hefty job in and of itself, which I've since learned. But our roles were different. Like you were a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And then you decided to join the workforce 2 years ago. And that was a big thing.
I mean, mainly that was because our kids had gone off to school full day and
you didn't have anything to do.
Man, you can only clean your house so many times.
Yeah. And so but now with this whole pandemic and, with me losing my job in this, like we've talked about in a previous episode, it's been different. And so it's challenged us to create a new adventure, which is self-employment. Yeah. Owning a business, chasing after a career in a creative field and really pushing ourselves in that aspect. Yeah. And I think that's been an awesome adventure for us.
It has.
It's been challenging.
It's been really challenging.
And that's what we said, though. Like an adventure should change you. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. But if you are experiencing something, if you are feeling something, like it's adventurous. Yeah.
And I would caution, like, don't make everything about your feelings. Because
your feelings are liars sometimes.
Totally are. Because they will hijack those awesome moments just as quickly as they come. But you're right. Like if you're not seeking it. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not going after it and if you're not living in those moments when they do show up.
Yeah, because if you don't grab those moments, then you're always going to be living in that state of like, well, if my circumstances were different or if, my life was different at this point in time, then I could do that. Or, just kind of justifying and not chasing after things. And when you live in that, then you're never going to be able to seek that adventure or make a change in your life. Yeah. And it makes it really difficult to like branch out and I know I was stuck in that for a really long time of like, well, we're comfortable in my career or we're comfortable with my job or the paychecks are comfortable. Yeah. And we never wanted to I guess I never wanted that safety net to be gone.
That's fair. I think a lot of people live in that, right? Like, I mean, think about how many people make the excuse of like, well, we're not ready to get married or we're not ready to have kids yet or we're not in the right place. Well, honestly, in all things, whether it be adventure, marriage, whatever it is that you're facing, it is never going to be perfect enough.
No, it's never going to be the perfect timing.
We live in a broken world. Yeah. So things are never going to be perfect enough. And that's why we just need to make the choice to jump.
Yeah, because if you don't, then you're always going to be there.
Yeah.
You're always going to be stuck in the career you hate. You're always going to be stuck in the, the relationship that's not moving forward, or you're never going to progress your relationship. Like, it's hard, and it's hard to make those jumps sometimes because it's scary. And I feel like a lot of people fall into that fear of like, well, I don't want to lose this. I would love to go and chase after this other job or chase after those trips or whatever, but I don't want to lose my safety net. And a lot of times that's hard to give that up because as Americans, I feel like we really want to live in comfort. And
yeah, we do.
And that comfort comes at a cost. And when we don't have it, we kind of feel lost.
I think we are one of the few societies in the world that really puts so much focus on our occupations and how they identify us. I've heard and read that in a lot of like Nordic countries, they would never ask you like, oh, what do you do?
And that's a common question here.
It totally is, because that's not all that you do. That doesn't define who you are. Your job is just a portion.
Well, it's a means to an end.
Exactly.
Like your job is for you to live.
Yes.
Like I always said this a lot. Like, I want to work to live, not live to work.
Yes.
And I know that's a common thread that a lot of people say, but like, I really want to take that to heart. Like, I want my job to provide me the opportunities to live the life that I want to lead to the fullest extent.
Absolutely.
And I want it to be able to provide for us to be able to travel, to be able to adventure, to be able to live comfortably. Yes. But also to be able to give, to be able to serve, to be able to take care of you guys. Like, and that's been a big inspiration and a big motivator for me in my work life is to be able to work hard enough to get what we need so that we can live a life together.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people live on the reverse side of the coin. Like they kill themselves at work so that they can have a career and have a job and have, accolades and a big retirement account and all these things. But like, you can't take it with you when you're dead.
No.
And you are dead. Like, you can't replace those memories. Like, there's a band named Coin who has a song called Graveyard, and their hook in the chorus is that he was the richest man in the graveyard. And so basically, like, he worked his butt off. He had this great fortune, but he died and left nothing behind but being a rich man.
That sounds terrible.
And so, like, he never experienced, like, coaching his kids' little league team or like going on a trip with his family or like all these vacations and stuff, because he just wanted to be able to provide them the life that they thought that they want. Like, he thought that they wanted.
Yeah.
Which is contrary to what most people want.
It is, but honestly, I think so many people fall into the trap thinking that they are providing the life for their family that their family needs. But really, guys, your family just needs you.
Yeah.
Like, you being present, adventuring together is going to be more important and leave more of a legacy for your family than money ever could.
Well, it's also going to make your life feel more exciting. We were looking up like, reasons for adventure, or like the best reasoning for adventure in your life. And one that really struck us was about how, like, do you guys ever feel this way? Like, that all of a sudden, like, the year's gone by. I mean, maybe not this year, because I feel like it's been 100 years long, but like most of the time I feel like it's New Year's, and then it's Valentine's Day, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's again. And like the time just flies by, and I feel like every year older that I get,
some of the best holidays.
Oh, I know, but like, just for a point of example, but I feel like every year that I get older too, like, I feel like that time goes even quicker, and it's because it's filled with so much monotony. And so then I feel like I'm like, man, like, these days are flying by. Like, oh wow, like, time flies, like, how crazy it is. Like, and that's a common sentiment to us. Yeah. And I feel like we read this article, and it was really eye-opening that there's been research that's been done that shows that if you get outside of your norm and you do something that's different, if you adventure seek, that it actually makes your time feel like it goes slower, and it makes your years feel like they're longer, because you're not just doing the same daily routine of wake up, take a shower, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, cook dinner, go to bed.
Yeah.
Like you break your cycle and you go and do something that's different. You experience something that's different. You experience a new culture. You experience a new city. You try a new restaurant. You don't order a bacon cheeseburger. Like the little things in life that change are what then create those memories and those like checkpoints in your life that then change the direction of the timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those things can be small, they can be big. They can be, you know, going to a new place within your city, or they can be going to a new city altogether.
Yeah.
They can be playing a new game with your family. They can be going on an awesome vacation with your family. Like, there's so many ways to break the monotony.
Yeah.
It just takes being awake and present for it.
Well, and the monotonous routine is what really kills your time. I mean, a prime example is like when you were a kid, like summer vacation felt like it lasted forever.
Yes.
Like the days were super long. The 3 months that you were off felt like an eternity because you did things. You met with your friends. Like for us growing up, like, you know, it wasn't video games and, TikTok. It was, like going out and riding our bike down the bike trails and like going to a park and like going and like for me playing paintball in the woods with my friends, or like all these like little different things that like really extended my life and really built memories and were fun. And then you grow up and you don't have summer vacation anymore.
I do.
Well, unless you're an awesome person who works in the education system. Shout out to the teachers. But like, if you don't have that time, then it's fleeting.
Yeah.
And it goes by so fast.
Yeah.
And like, for me though, like that was so true. And then like when I lost my job this year right before summer vacation, like April. And then our kids were in online schooling, but then went on summer vacation. Like this was the best summer.
It was awesome.
Like we didn't really go anywhere or do anything incredible, but like I didn't have to go anywhere. And so like this summer felt like it lasted forever.
It was so awesome.
And it was so incredible to get to spend that time with you and spend that time with our kids and like just not really have a schedule or a routine and like just be able to just live our lives. And it was so refreshing and so awesome that I just clung to it. And I was like, I'm never going back. Like I can't sacrifice this time anymore. I can't sacrifice this time with our family anymore. Like I can't not live my life because it sucks to not.
It does.
And to be able to be like, you know what, kids, like today we're just going to go and do something awesome because we can. And it's awesome. And then you started back to work and it kind of sucked a lot because you weren't here. And so then like,
it's really hard.
I found us like, though, like it's feel like the days go by a little bit faster now. And it's because we're back in a routine. We're back into, the kids going through school and you're going to work and, our business is picking up. And so I'm working more. And it's like, it's crazy to see just how fast that shifted. And I feel like we really try to slow it down still. And that comes into our weekend adventuring. And so I think that that's just a huge takeaway is just make it happen. Because if you're not making it happen, it's not going to find you. Yeah. Like adventure doesn't just come and bite you in the butt. Like it's not like
it might. That would be quite the adventure.
But it's not going to. If you're not out there seeking it, you're not going to. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And I think, like truly, you can adventure within somewhat your comfort zone. I know that sounds super weird, but what I mean by that is like, say you're not a person that likes to fly. Say that really freaks you out. There's still ways you can adventure. Like you are not limited. Or say there's something you really don't love, whatever that is. That's okay. Like that doesn't mean that you can't, like if you're not really an outdoorsy person, that's okay. There's still ways to adventure.
Yeah, adventure doesn't necessarily mean danger. It doesn't necessarily mean like pushing your bounds of your comfort.
Exactly.
It can be anything. Like if you live here in the United States, like we live in a big country.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a ton of stuff to do and you can drive anywhere to go do it. Like you just have to take the time. Like it just comes back to like taking your vacations and actually vacationing. Like, you know, when the borders open back up here, like go to Canada, go to Mexico.
You can drive
like
there.
You can drive there. You can take your car over the border and go experience some amazing sights in a not that far distance.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like flying, like you don't have to go skydiving to be adventurous. Like
no,
you don't have to have this glamorous and like boisterous life that is full of, you know, quote unquote adventure. Like adventure can just be, you know, going for a hike in your local community. Yeah. You can like be like, hey, you know what? Like I heard that kayaking's fun. Like they have this like kayaking trip on a river that's really calm and gentle, but I've never done it before. So let's go do it. Like, you know, it just takes you breaking out of the cycle and experiencing your life and experiencing your days and making something memorable. And it doesn't have to be every day.
No.
Like just plan a weekend a quarter. Like start there. Like shoot, plan one trip a year.
Yeah.
To go do something.
But even if it is every day, like I know something we've added into our nightly routine during dinner is we have these like family conversation starter cards.
Yeah, they're super fun.
And it just gets us out of that like, how was your day? How was your day? Like, not that those are bad. You need to connect in that way with your family, but it gives us this off the wall question that then we have to like think about and talk about and ask why. And
sometimes those questions still fall into a 1-word answer and it's like, yep, that was my answer. And it just kind of falls short. But sometimes they're really thought provoking. Yeah. And sometimes they're really great. But it's making an adventure of dinner time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many ways to build memories, to make life more exciting and to be more present.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's adventuring to me.
Your adventure could just be sitting down with your family for dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
that's not your regular routine.
If you fall into the camp of like, we're going to get takeout and sit in front of the TV and like just challenge yourself to like 3 nights a week, just cook a meal and sit down with your family and stare at each other and be awkward the first couple and then like break into conversation.
Yeah.
Like get yourself these cards that, you know, are conversation starters because they're super fun.
They are. And they've got a ton of them on Amazon. Yeah. I mean, I know we got ours at TJ Maxx one year around Christmas.
Because we're bargain shoppers.
We are. But also like TJ Maxx has weird stuff at Christmas. So
that's awesome.
That's where we found them. But I just like, it doesn't have to be grand.
Yeah.
It's just being intentional.
That's our challenge to you guys.
Yeah.
Is live a life full of adventure. Stop journeying through your life. Stop going from point A to point B and just being okay with that. Like break out of your comfort zone and do something. Plan
it. Make it happen.
Put it on the calendar and go.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought tickets to Chris Stapleton in April of next year. Like it's on our calendar and we're excited for it. So like do that. Like take a map and throw a dart at it of the United States and be like, we're going there this year.
Yeah. Like, because everywhere else is closed. I pointed upward for those of you who are just listening. We have a map above us, but pretty much everywhere else we are
closed off.
Unwelcome.
But it's just like, make a point to take adventure into your own hands, seek it first, and then you will find a life that's more exciting and more fulfilling and more fun.
Yeah.
And just take that leap. So.
Yeah, you can do this.
You got any closing thoughts there, babe?
Just that, like, guys, I don't want any of you to, like, look back on your lives and not have just awesome memories with your families, whether they are small or big, whether they are nightly book reading or, you know, a tuck-in tradition that's just memorable and special and intentional. Yeah. Like those are adventures too. And I just would hate for any family to miss out on having those adventures together, having those memories together that will be, like we said, the legacy for your children, for your grandchildren.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so just get out there, experience the world and have some fun.
Absolutely.
So with that, we're going to kind of conclude this one here. If you got any value out of this content, be sure to, you know, rate us on the podcast services you're listening to us on and leave us a comment if you're listening, and we would love to, kind of see what adventures you guys have taken. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Leave us a comment about the best adventure you've gone on in the last 2 years. We'd love to interact with you guys and kind of see what you guys are up to. And, it could be a good place for inspiration for other people as well to get out there and seek it. So like I said, like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos like this one. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye.